Hello everybody, my name is Karine and welcome to my channel. This is going to be yet another video where I film myself for 10 minutes and once those 10 minutes are up, whatever is recorded will be uploaded because I don't want to edit. And if I get trapped in the edit cycle, no videos will ever get uploaded to my channel. The topic of discussion today is going to be Meghan Sussex, formerly known as Meghan Markle. Again, I do have notes. They're pretty brief this time, but hopefully I'm able to cover everything in 10 minutes. My last topic was Blackpink and their solo careers, and I got cut off way earlier than I thought, so I'm keeping it much shorter this time. All right, so Meghan Markle, who's now Meghan Sussex because she's married and she took her husband's last name, joined the royal family in 2018 when she married Prince Harry. The reason why there's a lot of hullabaloo around her and her name right now is because she just released a new lifestyle cooking show with Netflix. It did incredibly well, super happy for her. It's such a cute show. I really quite loved it. I binged the whole thing and I've been going back to look at different things to get tips and tricks, and I will definitely be doing some of the things that she did in her show, including making candles. I'm so excited for that. But she released this cooking show and everybody's really excited about it. A lot of people are talking about it all over social media, and a lot of people are starting to be like, hey, there's a lot of weirdness that I'm running into when I go look up Meghan Markle or Meghan Sussex's name, and I'm getting some vile videos that are being made about her that make no sense whatsoever. And that is because you have now entered into the world of Meghan Markle war. There's a war. There's a war happening, and it's so interesting because there are aspects of the internet where whole ass events will play out. People will be writing dissertations, they'll be breaking things down, and this will be going on for years, and it will never cross into the radar of regular people who are not interested in that subject matter. But when I tell you there's a war happening around Meghan Markle, Prince Harry as well, because he's married to her, but really the center of everything is Meghan Markle. I'm gonna call her Meghan Markle because that's who everybody knows her as, but she does want to be referred to as Meghan Sussex, so I'll try to remember to do that as often as possible, but for the sake of the video, they're interchangeable. So I did not discover Meghan until she was marrying Harry. It was on her royal wedding that I learned more about her, and I was intrigued, but it was also passing intrigue. I was never really that interested in the royal family. It's just kind of passing intrigued. I watched Will and Kate's wedding, and I watched Meghan and Harry's wedding, and I was excited. She was a half Black woman. She was from the United States. She had a pretty successful TV show. I still haven't seen Suits, and I am quite a big fan of Meghan, and so it was just a passing interest in her. I didn't really think about her again after the wedding until 2021 when the Oprah interview came out. And then I watched that interview and I was like, interesting. I was not aware any of this was happening. And they explained why they ended up stepping back from the royal family, and they've left and they ended up in the United States at the time. And then in 2022, the Harry and Meghan documentary came out on Netflix, and I watched that whole documentary, and that is when I stepped into the world that is this war happening on social media regarding Meghan Markle, Meghan Sussex. So essentially, I watched the docuseries. I was flabbergasted. My gases were flabbered. I was shocked at some of the things that I had not been even remotely aware were happening, because it's a different country and I don't really pay attention to news from different countries. And at the time we were under the first Trump presidency, everything was crazy. I was not paying attention to what was happening in the United Kingdom. come to find out that all this crazy stuff happened. They were super racist. They still are. Makes sense. I'm a Black woman who lives in the United States, and I have lived in predominantly white places, and I have deliberately chosen to live in more predominantly Black or multiracial places because there is a subtle cruelty that comes from being around white people who are racist subconsciously and consciously, and the way they continuously attack you, but they don't seem to really grasp it. It is the most mind-boggling thing, and it will rock your world. So that I know from personal experiences that like that kind of racism eats away at you. And based on what Meghan has explained, since it wasn't like a situation that she had dealt a lot with growing up, her race became a bigger issue when she married into the royal family than it had been her entire life, which makes sense. She's a pretty like biracial looking woman. She's pretty like racially ambiguous, very much could pass for a white woman with a very nice tan or someone of a different ethnicity. And so after the documentary on Netflix, I went onto social media to find more information about her, and the kind of vitriol I discovered, that is when I realized that people who hated on Meghan Sussex were not normal. There were a lot of bots, there were a lot of trolls, and then the haters had very common characteristics. They tended to be white women. They tended to be really like nasty white women. And it didn't matter what age they were. They were some of the most viciously cruel people on the internet and the most racist people, but they insisted they weren't racist. It was just something about her they didn't like. And also the second piece of the group that was fueling all this is the British media, and they still are. The British media cannot let Meghan Sussex go. They are obsessed with her. They make so much money off of her. They are constantly pumping out articles about her, whether she's in the like social zeitgeist or whether she's like stepping back. There were months where she did nothing, absolutely nothing, and they wrote multiple articles about her per day. Like, it wouldn't even be one magazine writing hundreds of articles about this woman. It would be each magazine would write multiple hate-filled articles about her, and it was ridiculous. One such example I actually think is super hilarious. I don't know anything about the UK newspapers, but this one is apparently pretty reputable. It's the Telegraph, and it's a tabloid and it's a newspaper. And this is the cover that was featured in one of their the cover of their newspaper in one of the October 2024 releases. Where's Meghan? Capital letters, all pictures of Harry, no Meghan amongst them, and they're trying to stoke all these lies and everything. I saw this and I was like, these people are absolutely psychotic. They're actually psychotic. And essentially, Harry was doing a lot of interviews by himself because he was like trying to push his own personal projects that he's working on, and Meghan was at home with her children, and they were like, where's Meghan? What's going on? Are they divorcing? Trouble in paradise? Making up all these absolutely like atrocious lies, and that's where we got that newspaper cover. They had seen Meghan had come out 3 weeks before that. The last time we had seen her, 3 weeks before that. It took 3 weeks for these people to release that kind of article and newspaper cover. I tell you, it's insane. And it's one of those things that is continuous. No matter what she does, no matter how poised she is, she cannot fail, she cannot succeed, she cannot go left, she cannot go right without being hated. Nothing that she does will ever be good enough for these people, because essentially the mistake she made was marrying Prince Harry and being too much more interesting than the rest of the British family. And to this day, I've come to this realization, even like when news articles come out or interviews come out about the royal family and stuff, I lose interest really quickly, because ultimately I'm not really interested in the royal family. The person who's interesting to me is Meghan Sussex. Not even Prince Harry is all that interesting to me. It's actually just his wife that I find to be super interesting. And it's one of those things where I'm like, how is it that this... Okay, well, my alarm went off, so thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.